Welcome back to Gold Seek TV. I'm here with the founder, CEO, and director of BP Silver Corporation, Tim Shearcroft. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks very much for having me, Peter.
Pleasure to have you on today after some big news out from the company. There's been some new vein and breccia discoveries from your work program. Things are continuing to develop and move forward, so I thought it'd be a great time to get an update and get some more insights on what exactly is happening down at the Cosuño project in Bolivia. So with the news out today, could you give us some more insights on exactly what vein and breccia discoveries have been made, and what does this mean for the coming drill program later this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've been mapping and sampling in various areas throughout the project since March, and this announcement today is speaking about the Halseri area. So we're talking about Halseri, where we previously drilled in phase one and drilled 75 grams silver equivalent over 29 meters. And we've also been mapping and sampling into new areas that we've named Halseri North and Halseri Northeast. And within those areas, we've outlined 16 new vein and breccias, with the aggregate total of close to 2,100 meters. And so that's fairly substantial, that we're seeing outcropping or inferred veins and structures in close proximity to positive drilling and on surface. And this speaks to, in broader terms, to how pervasive this system is. We look forward to drilling and getting sampling back from our results from the current sampling.
So you're doing channel sampling, rock chip samples, and
Yes.
how else are you discovering these veins?
Yeah, this is mostly mapping. It's walking the property, detailed mapping, yeah, chip sampling, channel sampling. We found in between some of these veins and structures, we found veinlets, sulfide and sulfur salts, minerals, which is we know from drilling that these contain high levels of silver. It also can create potential for bulk tonnage open pit. Essentially, if you have dissemination in between the veins and structures. And this is very forward looking, and it's only one particular area. But if we got our calculator out and we took 2,100 meters of veins and breccias, multiplied by, say, 20 meters wide by 400 meters deep, with a volume of 2.65, and we say 4 ounces per ton, that's 178 million ounces of silver. It's very forward looking, and this is just on the surface. But if you can imagine for a second what 2,100 meters of veins could mean in terms of a deposit. Now, we already know that some of these structures do contain broader intercepts than that already. Over at Pocanita Chica, we drilled 38 meters of 116 grams silver. So 4 ounces is plausible. We know that these types of structures are mineralized and carry graded depth. So it's very good to see that you have a lot of these structures and veins in a concentrated area. And this is only one area. Mm-hmm. Our best drill results came quite a bit further away at Pocanita Chica, where we did have the 38 meters of 116 grams silver. And our biggest and best target is Pocanita Grande, which is probably at the center of the system. It's the most altered zone, and that remains undrilled. And we're working to build access to that. It's quite complicated, but we will be able to drill that likely in the phase 3 program. So we're very excited about this. This project continues to uncover very interesting geological features, and all of these in total mean something, and we'll continue to just keep driving this forward systematically.
And what other parts of this work program will you be completing before the next phase of the drill program? Are you going to focus on other parts of the property as well, or?
Yeah, mapping and sampling are going to continue property wide, and that will go right continue through the MAG and the IP and the phase two drill program. Just understanding more about what's going on is important. That helps set up targets. You want to have good mapping, geochem on surface to go along with MAG and IP and various drilling scattered throughout the property, and that's really helps line up things for phase three. Next steps are for the MAG survey to kick off. On completion of that, we'll roll right into phase two drilling. Phase two drilling again is going to be a follow-up on Pocanita Chica, where there's very substantial outcropping structures, two that we drilled into and had very good mineralization, including that 38 grams of 116 grams silver. But then we'll also follow up on some of these smaller targets, very similar to phase one, just demonstrating that there is mineralization that continues, subsurface at a relatively shallow depth. And putting these together helps us understand again, the system, the type of mineralization we're seeing property wide, and that will set up for phase three. So we still need to do the IP, in selective areas. And that's just another layer of information for us to have more certainty when we drill phase three. And phase three will be, of course, some of the continued shallow drilling through structures and veins that are within the lithocap, and these would be sort of amenable to open pit mining, bulk tonnage, if they can all hold together. But that phase three drilling will test the deeper targets, the vein system below the lithocap. And ultimately, that's what we want to get into. And an example of that is the lithocap 10 kilometers south of us at Pulacayo, where the vein system below the lithocap, starting around 4,100 meters, was responsible for 600 million plus ounces of silver. So, these can be very substantial. That very forward-looking calculation I gave you on 2,100 meters of vein and breccias at 20 meters wide. Again, it is very forward-looking, but you add those kind of numbers up, very simple calculations, you start to see some very big numbers, and that's what gets us excited.
Yeah, you mentioned in the past the potential for a tier one silver discovery, and this is a very large, there's a lot of drill targets that you're coming up with. So this is going to take a lot of drilling work and capital to do so. So the company has successfully raised capital. You, I believe, raised more than you anticipated. So you can give us some more insight on the current state of the finances, and maybe a little also if you could share who were kind of some of the investors in this last financing, in this big financing.
Yeah, very happy with the financing. We went out with a plan to raise 8 million. We upsized to 10 million in the backdrop of challenging markets at the time. It's a lot of pressure on the stock. So I'm thankful for the shareholders and the shareholders that went out into the market and supported the stock. But yeah, we completed the financing non-brokered. Still remains very tight structure. Well-known names participated in this, geologists, other industry people, along with small family offices and a few small funds. So it's a good group, and I know most of the individuals well.
Yeah, sounds like very supportive.
It's reassuring having those types of individuals coming in and supporting the company. And they obviously see value here at the $1 pricing, but they also see long-term where the potential is with a project like Cosuño. I have a lot of geologists that are shareholders, and that's always really nice to see. But we have a long way to go, but it's always a good start.
It is, and the company's a little bit more than a half year old at this point, publicly, a half year old since it was listed. So it's quite the progress already over the last several months. Phase one drilling had a discovery, raised over $10 million. So this should keep you pretty well financed into through phase two and then through phase three drilling, it sounds like.
Yeah, phase three. The program's looking about 8,000 meters in combination of phase two and phase three. So we have plenty of money to do that and with capital left over. So I don't see a need to go back to the market till well into 2027. In fact, if phase three was good and we wanted to continue doing some more drilling, we're not too late in the season. We'd have the capital to do that.
Mhm.
So yeah, very well positioned going forward.
So phase two drilling will be coming up in the coming months, it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, late June, early July. I never want to give specific dates. I mean, it's
Mhm.
timing. We want to make sure that we have everything that we need, to to set the drill holes in the correct place. It's not so easy as just look, we have good drill results. Just keep drilling away. You want to be very careful and understand the geometry down dip extension of some of these structures and veins and be very careful so we can find what we're looking for hopefully and it goes well. We're moving as quickly as we can in terms of like a drilling contractor. We have a very good contractor secured, um, multiple rigs, so they're available when we're ready to go. And if we need to make up for any time along the way, we can. It's just a function of adding a second or third drill rig during phase two or phase three. So I'm fully confident that we're going to complete everything that we have laid out in the 2026 work program by year's end.
Excellent. Well, lots activity going on in the company. I know sometimes for investors during the work program and so on, it's things kind of take some time, some months to progress, but now we're starting to see the initial results coming out. It sounds like some really good success on this first news out from the mapping and finding new vein structures, and a lot of work left ahead. But it's really seems to be coming together nicely. Not a shortage of drill targets or things parts of the
No.
project to look at. So I can't imagine how do you kind of focus? Where are your prime targets, I guess, at this point?
Yeah, I mean, the prime targets right now is to follow up on Pocanita Chica because that's where we had the best numbers and it's very obvious. Over there. Pocanita Grande, it's a very similar alteration footprint as Pocanita Chica. It's 3 or 4 times the size, so that's something we're excited to drill. But again, that's access. But some of the other parts of the system that we're talking about, these veins and structures that we're finding in House Surrey at lower elevation, some distance away from these targets. It's all part of the system, and it's just building that footprint bigger and bigger. Originally we started out with a 2.7 kilometer mineralized trend. We've expanded that to 3.5 kilometers. That's a very substantial amount of area. And one thing's to say, well, we got a sample at 3 kilometers away and we're calling it a trend. Now, we're starting to show some of the components of the system, veins and structures within that trend. And then those have already produced drill results and we're hoping with the sampling program we have some assays that are pending that those geochem numbers are going to come back strong and that's just going to further validate what we're seeing on surface and we keep moving along.
Excellent.
And it's going really well. But all of this is possible. I mean, every interview or presentation, I always just remind shareholders that we have a very, very strong team, management board and advisors that are helping push this thing forward. And what we're seeing in the market, how the companies perform, financings, the program moving along, milestones getting hit. This is because we have a very good team helping direct and advise on what's going on. So I'm thankful for that, to be surrounded by those groups of people. But just to remind shareholders, that's a big part of what you're investing. It's not, solely the project. You have a very good team that's going to unlock value at Cosuño and hopefully other projects as well.
Well, that's great to hear as a fellow shareholder with a long-term focus here. This is quite the exciting silver exploration and discovery story right now. There's not too many large silver deposits out there. Not too many have been discovered over the last years, and now watching the silver price run, this has got to put a lot more focus on a project like this over the coming year.
Yeah, extremely hard to find something like Cosuño, this size of land package, undrilled on a major belt. I mean, it just has everything going. And then when you have, good community relations and infrastructure and, potential companies that, could take us out that are in the area, it just, it ticks almost every box. But again, it's still high risk.
Mhm.
And the company always has, eyes on other things as well. So, we're out there always looking, for other opportunities as well, that can be a creative, for the company. And, that's a big part of it too. We have a, fantastic network and opportunities coming at us all the time. So,
And yeah, from what I've heard, Bolivia is one of the few left fully undiscovered or they're developed kind of silver frontiers, places to really find large silver deposits in this right now.
yeah, I think it's the number one jurisdiction, worldwide for making new discoveries. It's just been so underexplored for the past 20, 30 years. It's like Peru or Argentina in the 90s, right?
Mhm.
It could really catch fire. And if Cosuño turns out to be a mine, I think there's going to be a lot more to follow. So higher probability in Bolivia of making discoveries and finding new opportunities than anywhere else in Latin America and perhaps the world. And that's what always attracted it to me. Yes, I mean, there's always other challenges, coming into Bolivia. There's a reason why people didn't come in, but if you have a good ground team, and some optimism, good opportunities can be found. And if you get the silver price going in the right direction, like we've had, that doesn't hurt.
Yes. Well, it's an exciting period for BP Silver. We'll be closely following the work programs and then the drill programs as well. So thank you, Tim, for the update today. We'll speak with you soon and look forward to the updates.
Sounds good, Peter. Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.